welcome back to J&J Fantasy Flyers. I'm Joey.
And I'm Jason. And we're helping you soar above the competition.
Soar above the competition. Welcome back. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our Week 1 rankings, right, Jay?
Hopefully they helped guide you to a Week 1 win, as miserable as Week 1 was.
Yeah, it was pretty disappointing. We can say that from a fantasy aspect. I know, I think I won a couple leagues this week that with pretty low scoring for, what the norm is, so...
Absolutely. It was definitely below average. And just as a quick stat real quick, I believe 4 of the top 8, I guess we'll call them scores, were DSTs.
Yeah, and then, hey,
So,
you heard it here first with our Rams stream of the week.
I know the Rams have
that
definitely won me a week, or
Me
a
too.
matchup this first week one. So
I won 2 matchups this week, and I had the Rams in both of them. So they helped you out when, the wide receivers and quarterbacks, especially the quarterbacks, really struggled.
The quarterbacks did struggle. Very bad across the board. There was a couple that really blew it up and played decent, but I mean even the mid-tier quarterbacks.
Not the guys that you would expect, like a Bradford and Alex Smith. I mean, Don't get me wrong, Bradford looked really good.
He did.
But it was the Saints defense, which kind of leads us to why Brady might be number 1 on our rankings.
Maybe not.
So no, I definitely
yet to be revealed.
I definitely hear you on that. Which, speaking of which, our rankings are on our website. Feel free to check it out, jnjfantasyflyers.com. Also, there'll be a link to it on our Twitter @FantasyFlyers and on Facebook, J&J Fantasy Flyers as well. So go ahead, check out the rankings, and it's pretty simple, Jay. Just play the guy that's ranked highest, right?
That's it. Pretty straightforward.
Definitely. So other than that, really minus the disappointing Week 1, there was some cool headlines. I think it took us kind of by storm with Houston getting blown out by Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, that was not expected, I guess to say the least.
Especially with the emotions in Houston, I really thought that they would have came out and kind of shot the gun a little bit better on that one.
Yeah, and with Blake Bortles playing for the Jaguars.
Yeah, who would have known?
I didn't know he could win any games.
Yeah, if we would have came into here and said, the Houston Texans defense, who we both had ranked number 1 consensus, would get 0 points, and the Jacksonville Jaguars be one of the top 3. Yeah. Nobody's seen that coming.
Ooh.
Definitely, but hey, we can both confidently say that we nailed our premium plays of the week with Todd Gurley and who'd you have?
Randall Cobb.
Randall Cobb, I think, was a little bit better than my play. That's
Randall
for sure.
Cobb. He bring it. And he did everything that I predicted. I mean,
definitely, almost to a T. I think he said 9 catches for 90-some odd yards.
It was something like that.
It was close.
I might have thrown a touchdown in there, which maybe I was getting greedy.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, Todd Gurley had a good game too, and they basically took him out of the game.
He didn't come out and win the week for it, but he definitely gave you points in a down week where you needed points.
And lots of looks in the passing game as well. I think he had 5 catches, and that's a good sign for fantasy owners going forward. So I know I love me some Todd Gurley, that's for sure.
And speaking of, stay tuned and keep an eye out for our premium play of the week every week. There'll be more coming this week. So.
Jason's got a pretty bold one. I actually like it. And when we first were going over it, I was like, what? Really? Him?
Yeah.
And then he really talked me into it on that one. I'm going to scour the waiver wire, see if he's out there in a couple leagues.
If I'm playing it, he's probably not. So,
which he is. So. But we're going to dive right into this to our Week 2 rankings here.
Yes.
And like we both said, Jason, why don't you tell us who our number 1 overall ranking is for quarterbacks?
Yeah, it's Tom Brady. And I'm just going to start it off talking about Tom Brady. And I'm sure there's a lot of people freaking out. Oh my God, Tom Brady's 40 years old. Look at him. He's this, he's that. And, I'm just pretty much going to say, A, he played a tough Chiefs defense who shut down his number 1 target in Gronkowski.
Eric Berry,
which...
Best wishes, Eric Berry. We hope you get better soon. Definitely.
It's horrible.
Yeah, well, he shut them down quick.
He did. And, it's Tom Brady. Come on.
Playing the Saints.
And he's playing the Saints. Don't freak out over 1 week. Everyone has bad weeks, especially week 1. And how many times has the Patriots come out, early in the season, gone 0-2. They've done this. They look like crap. Then they turn it on. And I don't know what, Belichick must let a spark under their butts, and the next thing you know, they're just blowing teams out 40-0.
There's a reason why Tom Brady's ranked 1 or 2, and to be honest with you, if Brady doesn't do it this week, then I think we're a little bit more nervous than what we are.
And I think going forward, something you'll notice in our rankings this week is you won't see an overreaction to week one.
Absolutely.
Because it's week one. Guys, I mean, you'll see some guys moving that maybe had good performances you weren't expecting, or maybe you were expecting, you were just waiting to see.
Let's just pump the brakes on, what we've seen from week one. I mean, new receivers for Brady. Edelman's out. Gronk was basically blanketed the whole time. Yeah. Let's just wait and see on that. I mean, there's some guys we could panic on. And there's some guys, they kind of blew it up that you kind of want to pump the brakes to. It's week one. Going into week two, we'll take a look and see. Small sample size.
Yeah.
So I think... Tom Brady, I agree. He's both our consensus number one going up against the Saints. Just look at what Sam Bradford did against him.
Yeah, and I got Sam Bradford here on my sheet too to talk about. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to go ahead and talk about your.
Yeah, mine's going to be a little bit lower. Obviously, I don't need to sit here and talk about Breeze or Aaron Rodgers or Matt Ryan. The reason why Jason highlighted Brady is because there's a lot of panic over him, and we're just here to tell you that. Pump the brakes. Brady will be fine. Mine's going to be a little bit lower, a little bit, deeper on the list. And it hurts.
That would be lower.
Yeah. It hurts me to say this because I am we are a diehard Miami Dolphins fans, but yes. I think Phillip Rivers is a solid, high floor, super high ceiling play against my Miami Dolphins. I hate to say it, but, the Dolphins are looking for a cornerback. They, had possibility of trading for Richard Sherman in the offseason. They, went aggressively after Joe Hayden, which means there's something that Matt Burke doesn't like there. And we've seen it how many times, man. The Dolphins defense gets torched. Not to mention, who knows, the San Diego Chargers probably got all the rust out. Miami has yet to play. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns. Don't get me wrong, I love Miami. I think they're going to have a good year. But I think Phillip Rivers is a really good option. I think their focus is going to be more on taking away Melvin Gordon as well. So I think if you're in any daily leagues like that, I think Phillip Rivers is a cheap alternative there for you. And even if in your regular league, I mean, I could see Phillip Rivers putting up top 5 quarterback numbers and pretty easily. I mean, so that's another thing to just kind of monitor and going forward. Jay, give us somebody, kind of around Rivers, maybe a little bit lower on our rankings that, could be a stream play for the guy who, waited on quarterbacks a little bit too long.
Yeah, I'm actually going with somebody who had a disappointing week one and someone that I actually started in the league and managed to pull out a win with was Carson Palmer.
Yeah, he stuck it up.
He did, and it's really basically that they're playing the Colts, who I think might be the worst team in the NFL without Andrew Luck playing quarterback.
Absolutely.
And I mean, they're just. I mean, you saw what the Rams did to them, offensively and defensively. Goff had, it was a practice day out there.
Goff had his best performance ever, career, most passing yards ever.
Exactly, and we all know Palmer. He's a solid quarterback. Yeah, he had some interceptions last week. He's going to have bad games. Yeah, he lost David Johnson, which some say can be a negative. You could also spin it as a positive. He's going to have to pass the ball more, yada, yada. You can spin the David Johnson loss any way you want for Palmer. I just think he's going to come out and he's going to put up solid numbers for you.
I agree. No, I like Carson Palmer.
Yeah, he's not going to come back out with 3 interceptions. Like he did last week. It's not going to happen.
A little gun shy, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little wary. I am contemplating Palmer or Tyrod. Those are my 2 quarterbacks in the league where I waited a little long for a quarterback.
But I think if that's the case, you got to go with the better matchup.
Yeah, and I believe I'm going to start Palmer.
Yeah, so. I mean, I agree. I think he's ranked pretty appropriately at 13 for us. I'm actually going to talk about the guy that's ranked a little bit lower than him, which I know you were higher on him than I was. But with our consensus, he ended up at 14, and that's Matthew Stafford. Don't get me wrong. How many years have we rode the Matthew Stafford train? He's got the high, then he's got the low. He's not the peaks and valleys with Stafford. I know the Giants' offense looked horrendous. Trust me. That Eli. That hurt. But I really think that, Stafford had an amazing week one. I think he's going to fall into that valley. The Giants' defense is still, pretty tough. I mean, I know
it's tough defense.
Dak Prescott didn't look that good. Landon Collins, I think, is one of the best defensive players in the league.
They might have one of the best secondaries in the league.
Jackrabbit is phenomenal. I mean, if he's going to shut down guys, plain and simple. I kind of see a little bit of a slide on Stafford. I don't want you guys to get too excited off the week 1 numbers. I think he's a good quarterback two quarterback leagues, or maybe like a super flex. I could see Stafford being played. However, I would say every guy that's ranked above him in our rankings would see my lineup before Matthew Stafford. So I mean that's just kind of where I come from.
Yeah.
With that, and I know you had mentioned earlier, you said you had Sam Bradford on your list, for people a little bit lower down.
Absolutely, and that's where I want to jump right now. Is Bradford, as you mentioned, he pretty much just picked apart the Saints defense.
Absolutely.
I mean, he looked phenomenal.
Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, he's got the targets.
I mean, he's got even Rudolph, who didn't have a huge day, but still jumped in there. He could have. And I mean, yeah, it was the Saints defense, but you look at some of the throws he made, and just like his overall control and poise in the pocket and the way he just ran the offense, it's he's poised to have a big season. I'm not bumping him up in the top 10 yet because I want to see him do it consistently first. But I think he has that potential. And I mean, last year he came in. He played decently last year, but he came in a week before the season started.
True.
I mean, you can't learn an NFL offensive system in a week.
Yeah. Are you saying that Sam Bradford maybe crack your lineup here? I mean, is there a guy in the top 10 that you can argue, maybe Bradford having a better week then?
Cam Newton?
That's where I was going to. He didn't look that good.
No.
I think you would say that Sam Bradford's worth being owned in 100% of leagues, right?
Yeah, I think if he's on the waiver,
12-team leagues.
12-team leagues, you need to pick him up. And
I
mean, I wouldn't recommend hanging on to 3 quarterbacks. So you're gonna have to decide for yourself who your 1 and who your 2 is. So I mean,
if you got like a Breeze, Brady, Rodgers, and you're not really concerned about it,
and you don't have a second one yet.
Yeah, Bradford's a decent trade option too. I mean, if he comes out and lights it up like he has been, I mean, he looked amazing. I mean, he looked really, really good, and I mean that's an encouraging sign for fantasy owners.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go a little bit different with my kind of reach pick, and ours is the 21st, or mine is the 21st ranked guy, which is Joe Flacco. Okay, I know back surgery. Everybody is thinking that Baltimore is going to go to a run-heavy offense, ball control, let that phenomenal defense play its course and just squeak through. I don't think that's what Flacco is, though. I think Flacco's first week back, it was his first game action. They had the game in the bag. I mean, their defense single-handedly destroyed Cincinnati and Andy Dalton. I mean, Flacco didn't have to pass. Now, this is a pure gut call for me. I think when you're down this low, I don't like DeShone Kizer. I don't like Deshaun Watson. I'm not a big fan of Thursday night guys, unless I have to start them. Trevor Siemian, I think, had a real good game. I don't think that continues. I think he's going to come back down to earth a little bit. I think you could do worse than Joe Flacco down here. I mean, the guy had the most pass attempts in the league last year. Not to mention the Cleveland Browns defense might shock a few folks with how good their run defense could be. I mean, Le'Veon Bell, they shut Le'Veon Bell down. Granted, he didn't get the carries and anything like that, but still, they shut Le'Veon Bell down.
Really shut the whole team down aside from Brown.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean
Jesse James, who pulled
2
but they were
touchdowns
out of his pocket.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't anything that
look, I got 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's just, you got to throw the pass.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's not that you're not a good NFL quarterback or anything.
I'd probably be top 12.
Probably not. I'd take Flacco over Jason every day.
Good to be seen.
So, but yeah, I mean, speaking of, week 1 kind of performances with Flacco, what about running backs? I know that there was a couple of running backs here.
Yeah.
That kind of shocked us, right?
There's actually 2 I want to touch on just real briefly, and that's Melvin Gordon and how good he looked. I remember watching the first quarter of that game, and he just looked fast.
Yeah. I think you texted me about that, right?
Yeah, I did. He looked fast and quick, cut in his cuts and hitting the holes, and I was just like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
He's looking good. And it sucks because I feel like they got away from the run at the end of the game.
Well, they had to.
And it wasn't, he wasn't able to put up the stats you were hoping for, but he still delivered a decent game. The second guy is Jay Ajayi, who excited to watch play.
You're all on that J train,
I'm
huh?
on the J train. I got him.
The J and J train.
J and J. I got him in pretty much every league. I mean, I love him this year. Obviously, my bold prediction is he finishes at the number 1 running back. So.
Hey, my bold prediction's looking pretty good right about now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, no, I could definitely see that. But
I'm just excited to watch him play.
yeah, hey, I can't argue. I'm just excited to see the Dolphins on the field.
But that said, is there somebody from week 1 that you're looking for out of the waiver wires that maybe you're hoping to snag?
Yeah, I know I touched on him in our Dynasty special when we were going over that. I kind of like what he did in preseason, and I just wasn't sure how his role would carry over, and that's Tariq Cohen. I watched a lot of the Bears, Falcons game, and Tariq Cohen was on the field. He led the team in targets. I mean, the dude is quick. He's 5'6", which is crazy.
But he's a big 5'6".
Yeah.
If there's a such thing.
Yeah, he's
he's
5'6.25".
I mean, no, he's a big dude. He's built.
Yeah, I mean, I
he's
think
not a string being 5'6".
I would say that if we had to equate Tariq Cohen's upcoming 2017 fantasy season to anybody, it would be Tyreek Hill.
I was gonna say
Absolutely.
That.
I mean,
exactly what I was gonna just get ready to say. That
Yep.
he compares well to Tyreek Hill.
So yeah, I mean that's another guy to keep your eye on.
And they got the similar name, so he's got that going for him too.
Yeah, absolutely. Similar build, tiny. Chicago's gonna have to pass, I think, and Glennon was looking for him. It doesn't bode well for Jordan Howard. I think it takes some touches away, but hey, you could do worse than having Tariq Cohen on your team.
If Howard would still be fine.
Oh yeah, he'll be fine.
But they're definitely gonna steal some.
Little touches, but that leads me into my next thing because one guy I was really impressed with, especially against that Houston defense, was Leonard Fournette. I mean, Leonard Fournette, I think is a real deal. Real deal. I've been talking about Leonard Fournette for the past 2 years in our dynasty league, and I put myself in a position to draft him 1 overall, but I fell in love with Corey Davis.
But you didn't.
And ended up the guy at 2 took Fournette. But I really think Leonard Fournette, man, he impressed me. I was kind of a little worried about the foot injury that he had, just with his injury history in the past.
So was I.
But I think Jacksonville was just kind of resting him in the preseason.
Dude, they force-fed him, and they're doing everything they can to not let Blake Bortles throw the ball.
Absolutely.
Especially now that Robinson's out for the season, they're going to do everything they can possibly to never let him throw the ball again.
Yeah, and I mean, their line looked good against one of the best defenses in football.
They really did.
Not to mention they got Tennessee coming in, and I mean, Marshawn Lynch is 31 years old. If I had to compare Fournette to somebody after what I've seen, it's pretty hard not to go with Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
So if a 31-year-old Marshawn Lynch can do that against Tennessee, what's Leonard Fournette going to do against Tennessee? I would say I could see Fournette having another 100 yards and a touchdown. I'd say touchdown and a half, maybe 2, depending on gameplay and game flow. But not to mention, he got some catches too. So I think Leonard Fournette's an all-around, back here for you. And
could see him averaging 3 catches a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
It ends up with 45 catches.
Yeah. I love me some Leonard Fournette this year, and I'm kind of glad I got him at least in 1 league. So.
Absolutely. But speaking of Marshawn, it's the guy I want to talk about.
Oh, there you go.
It's my man Marshawn Lynch going to the Jets. And
That's a sexy matchup.
I pretty much just broke down why I'm talking about him.
Yeah,
right
I
there.
mean, the Jets.
Yeah.
Jets aren't your stream defense this week?
I'm done, so if you want to...
Oh, that's all you got?
Yeah.
The Jets. Marshawn Lynch, the Jets.
No, but seriously. I mean, you saw what McCoy did, not McCoy,
2 different
Lynch,
guys.
2 different runners, but, I mean, you can pretty much have your way with the Jets. The Raiders' offense is so much more potent than the Bills that they're going to jump out to a lead. They're going to keep that lead by feeding Lynch the ball. And that's really about it. I mean, they're just going to feed Lynch. He's going to pound it down the throat. That whole second half, it's going to be handoff to Lynch, handoff to Lynch, handoff to Lynch.
And he looks like the Lynch of old.
He does. He looked very good.
I know in our 1 league, my decision in the 3rd round was Leonard Fournette or Marshawn Lynch. And I was real nervous of the age of Lynch. And the last time we seen him on the field, he didn't look that great. And to be honest with you, I love Leonard Fournette even more now after watching week 1. So I don't think I made the wrong choice, but I don't think you go wrong with either of them. I think Lynch might tamper off towards the end of the year, but week 2, he's good to go. He should be in your lineups everywhere. I think he's a good daily play as well.
Absolutely. I think he's going to be probably a decent value going into this week. His stats weren't there last week, but he got the touches. you saw him running. He looked really good.
He ran
running.
over people.
Yeah, I mean, he looked awesome.
Beast mode is back.
Yes.
That's for sure.
It's-
We're gonna make
it's-
that hashtag. Beast mode is back.
Beast mode is back.
Yep, I like
And
that.
That's all it needs to be said about that one.
One about a little bit lower on these lists, maybe running back to flex play consideration. Who do you like? Maybe dislike? Where are you going on this one, Dan?
Yeah, I got the guy here, man. I don't have him anywhere. I was never huge on him. I mean, I'm still not that big on him. He had a huge week 1, and it's Mike Gillislee.
Oh, Gillislee.
And obviously he had the touchdowns.
I mean, is that New England backfield? Do you believe in it?
No, I mean, I believe in the backfield. I don't know which one to pick.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you believe in Gillislee's role?
Yes. Gillislee's role is the blunt role from last year. And I think he might even have a little more upside for yardage.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, and really it is. They're playing the Saints. They're going to be in the red zone, I don't know, maybe 15 times. Not really, but
It could be.
they're going to be there. And they're going to be feeding him the ball. Even if they're not feeding it, if they're making the short passes or not, he's going to have his opportunity and chances in the red zone. I wouldn't be surprised to see 2 more touchdowns out of him. I'm not expecting it.
But
if he-
low yardage.
Yes, low yardage, 2 touchdowns, I would not be surprised. I'm not going to expect that week to week.
But I mean, also, and it's a thing worth mentioning here is, you know, when they were in the red zone, they gave the ball to Gillislee. They didn't let Brady throw it. Nothing against Brady, but I think they feel a little bit safer with the wide receivers.
They do, and it could be a scheme thing because you know Belichick is all about the weekly scheme. And they might have thought their chances were better handing it off in the red zone against the Chiefs, the Saints. I mean, the Saints, you can pretty much have your way with them. But their run D did look pretty tough in the beginning of the game against the Vikings. I think I said something about how fast their linebackers looked.
Yeah.
And that might be coming to play, but when they're in the red zone, he's going to have opportunities.
Well,
Whether or not he capitalizes on it is a different story.
And I mean, you could do worse, you know, for definitely in a standard league, I think Gillislee gets a bump up opposed to PPR. I think we both agree on that. But let me ask you a question here, because now you got me intrigued here, and I really wasn't thinking it going into tonight. But in my flex spot, in one of our leagues, in a standard scoring league, non-PPR, I have Jaquiz Rogers and I have Mike Gillislee. And they're honestly who I'm comparing on who I should play. Who do you think?
Well,
I mean, I know Gillislee's ranked higher at 21 and Jaquiz Rogers is 24.
and they're pretty close.
Close enough to be in consideration for the spot.
In the flex, and you know, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I'll have to go back and make an adjustment, but I think I would play Quiz.
Just because of the workload?
Just because he's
Kinda
going to have
what I'm
that
saying.
guaranteed workload.
PPR, I think it's Jaquiz Rogers hands down.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, I agree.
Which you're kind of counting on a couple touchdowns from Gillislee.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
it.
Which, I mean, hey, in a standard league, that's really what you're looking for there.
I mean, yeah, if you need the high upside play, you have your safe guys in to put Gillislee in. If you need somebody with the higher floor, just to kind of help you coast through that week, then put Quiz in because he's going to get you the low floor.
Gillislee's pretty much touchdown dependent, right?
Absolutely, that's he's going to be all year.
Yep, I agree. Which actually, that leads me to my next one. That's Jaquiz Rogers. That's who I was going with. I mean, you talked me into the Gillislee a little bit more than maybe I had been thinking. But I think in a PPR, I think Jaquiz Rogers he's one of the sneaky plays that could sneak into the top 15 running backs for week 2. You know, when Doug Martin was out last year, they used Rogers. He 5-6 catches a game, you know, decent. Little spark plugs. Nobody that you really expect to be, you know, phenomenal, but hey, I mean, the guy put up decent numbers and running back 2 type numbers.
He's going to get the touches.
Absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Mike Evans. He's my number 1 wide receiver this year still. But I think Jaquiz Rogers is going to get the workload to warrant the upside of playing him, especially in a week or running back 2 or even a flex spot. So that's definitely another one that I go with. Jay, if I had to ask, you know, here going a little bit deeper for people who, let's just say they're in a bind. They had David Johnson. They really didn't think that they just thought, hey, David Johnson's going to be my running back. You know, let's go grab wide receivers, tight ends, and quarterbacks. And let's say you missed the running back and you had to go pretty deep here. Where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, my guy here is Javoris Allen, Buck Allen, whatever you want to call him.
Allen, Buck Allen from USC.
Yeah, that's where he's from. Anyways, he's against the Browns this week, and even I think season long, he's a safe pickup. I mean, definitely with Woodhead out for the next couple months, I think he's gonna kind of take over a semi Woodhead role. He's not gonna get the targets Woodhead would. He's not the receiver Woodhead is.
He's still a pretty good receiver.
He's still a good receiver. But he's not gonna get all of that. But at the same time, he's gonna get more carries. He's gonna split the workload with West. I mean, he had 21 touches and 21 carries in week 1. So he's going to see some workload. He's going to have the opportunity, and I think he's got the talent to, give you a replaceable type of player that's going to help carry you to hopefully the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, high upside.
And definitely this week against the Browns, he's gonna help win this week.
I can see him getting 6-7 catches this week. I mean, I like me some Buck Allen, and to be honest with you, reports out of Baltimore is Buck Allen looked like the best running back in camp.
Yeah.
Better than West.
Mm-hmm.
Even better than Woodhead was kind of hurt, but I mean, I think Buck Allen's pass catching, I think it goes Danny Woodhead, and I think Buck Allen's 1A. Yeah. So, I mean, I would say I would put Woodhead 1.
Well, when Danny Woodhead was in there, I think he even got a couple targets before he got hurt.
No, yeah, I mean, I like Buck Allen. I think I would say that Buck Allen, for me, would almost be my number 1 waiver ad if I had to pick for running backs. Don't get me wrong, I like Tariq Cohen. I like what Chicago's doing. I just think Buck Allen is on a better team, and I think he's a little bit of a safer play. I actually like that. I actually like, to be honest with you, I like the Buck Allen a little bit more than my guy, which is Chris Carson, which I know you were jumping on the table for, and you have him in pretty much every league.
I believe I have him in every league I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a sexy pick. I mean, Pete Carroll said that it's basically up for grabs. He's real anxious to see if Carson can go and grab more snaps. I think if you give Carson more snaps, I mean, he's gonna lower the shoulder and lay the boom on some guys, and when it gets around the goal line, I don't think I can see Eddie Lacy getting cut. I mean,
if not from the Seahawks, you need to cut him from your fantasy team.
Yeah, definitely.
And just to expand on Chris Carson real quick, my premium play of the week was Thomas Rawls this week, and I think going forward, Chris Carson is a very good pickup. But for this week, I believe they're going to feed Rawls, and they're going to give Rawls the opportunity to win that spot. And if he can't do anything with it, or chances are he gets hurt, it's Chris Carson's job. And I think when he gets that opportunity, he's going to take it and run with it.
Yeah, see, I'm a little bit different there for you. The only thing that concerns me with Rawls is his injury history right now. Whether he's healthy, they might ease him into a little bit of action. Don't get me wrong, I believe the upside. I think Rawls is the number 1 back in Seattle when he's healthy. But Chris Carson started, and we've seen it before. Pete Carroll's not scared to play guys that aren't making the money that other people are, and that's what I like. I think if you're down this low, I mean, he's not even ranked on our rankings this week. I mean, who knows? It's just kind of an upside thing. They're playing San Francisco. Somebody's going to emerge from that backfield. And if you're throwing a dart, if you're left out in the cold, bring in some little Chris Carson.
I think his name is starting to get out there, but I think you can still beat the rush on waivers if you get him now.
I like that.
I drafted him in a couple leagues. I was big on him coming into the season. I thought he had a good chance of taking over that starting role. So if you're in a league with me, nobody had a chance of getting him because I went way early on the waiver rush. And I think right now you can beat the waiver rush on him still if you jump out and get him.
And you turned down a trade here today, David Johnson for Chris Carson.
I did. I'm still kind of mulling it over. But yeah, it's just I don't have the depth to sit on David Johnson. And Chris Carson could potentially become one of my starting running backs.
No, I agree. I like that as well. I really don't think you go wrong. Running back, another thing that I just want to touch on here real quick is don't freak out on Le'Veon Bell. He's unquestioned the number 1 running back this year. Zeke's number 2, and then it's kind of like
everyone else. Well, you can't forget about Jai. So.
Yeah, well, hey. Jai, he's looking a lot better finishing the top 3 now that DJ's out for basically the year, which sucks for DJ and owners. But I did say Le'Veon Bell should be your number 1 pick. You wouldn't be in this pickle right now.
Yeah.
But hey, I also said take DJ too. So. Let's roll right along here with this and keep chugging along here on the J train here. Who you got in wide receiver, Jay? Who you liking? Who you disliking? What are we thinking for wide receiver?
Well, I think first off, I'm going to jump into a couple waiver wire ads myself for the wide receiver position, and my I got two guys that I believe are similar, but yeah, different. If that makes sense. And it's Kenny Galladay and Cooper Kupp. Two rookies.
Babytron, best nickname in football.
Babytron, yes. Two rookies that came in. They got all the preseason hype. Everyone was big on them. They probably weren't drafted except in some maybe really deep leagues or some more of the more savvy leagues. I think they were probably both drafted in a couple leagues I'm in. One here, one there. But either way, get one if you can get one of them guys.
I think you should grab both.
I think you should grab both if you can, depending on how deep your bench is.
Cooper Kupp in a PPR, Kenny Galladay in a standard.
Yes, and I think Kupp is a safer play. Galladay is you're shooting for the stars, but I think he's still going to be safe.
Absolutely, and he's not the number one option.
But he's not going to get the targets Kupp's going to get.
I agree.
So
110%.
But yeah, I definitely Kupp PPR, Galladay standard.
Galladay finished top 4 wide receivers this week. I mean, they're looking for him in the end zone.
Yeah,
and he made some good catches.
He did.
He well deserves that.
He did. It's not like he just went in there and caught the ball. I mean, he made the plays.
Yeah, he wasn't a Benny Fowler.
Absolutely. So, but anyways, besides those guys,
enough of Benny Fowler here.
Yeah, don't take week 1 too seriously. Benny Fowler lovers. But my guy here that I want to talk about next is Amari Cooper, and if you know me, you know I love me some Amari. But, again, same thing as Marshawn, they're playing the Jets. So we can move on now.
Yeah. Well,
but
I think Amari Cooper, let's say he's not on my nice list right now, that's for sure.
No, I mean, definitely, he had a huge game. Well, not a huge game. He had a big game. But it could have been huge. And he dropped several red zone targets.
3 in a row.
Which
3 in a row.
I mean, you make it sound like they didn't all hit him in the chest and he dropped them.
I made a deal with the devil. Said, dear God, just throw it to Amari Cooper. And they did 3 times. He dropped it 3 times. I yelled at the TV. I almost, threw a...
What you get for making a deal with the devil?
That helps, huh?
But, yeah, I mean, I think the important thing coming out of that is those red zone targets.
Yeah, I like that too.
Because he didn't get those last year. I mean, I think he's almost halfway to what he had last year for targets for the whole season.
Yeah, in the red zone.
In the red zone. And they made that a point. It's been a talking point all off season by the coaches and Cooper and Carr. And now it's week 1 has come to fruition. He didn't catch those targets, but the targets are there. And, next time you just got to catch the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. I love Amari Cooper. I think he's well-deserved in our rankings here. Another thing that I want to touch on here real quick, I think Amari Cooper takes a little bit of a step down if Odell Beckham is healthy and playing, right? I think Odell slots right into that 4 spot.
In our rankings, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So, I mean, that's another thing to monitor, and it sucks because Odell is Monday night.
If he's playing at 100%, if that ankle is not nagging him and he's not just out there for...
But still, if Odell's on the field, he's in your lineup without, question.
Absolutely. I mean, and we got him at number 7, I believe, right now, and that's simply just baking in that ankle risk right now. Because, I mean, he could go out there as a distraction if he's semi-healthy enough, or he could go out there thinking he's ready to go and just re-aggravate the injury or not be really 100%.
I just think he's a gamer. I think, whatever happened, I don't think he's going on the field with his contract situation unless he's 100%. The Giants offense, they need him back out there. And he's been working with his, physical therapist on the side every day. He's itching to go. So definitely, that actually leads me into the next guy with injury concerns and all that. And he stayed healthy week 1. So right now we're crossing our fingers, licking our chops here, and that's Keenan Allen. I know we have Keenan Allen just a little bit outside of our top 10. However, I was a little bit higher on him than you were. But our consensus put him down at 12. But he made it through week 1 healthy, and I know I hate to say this again, Byron Maxwell with the Dolphins does not look good. We lost Tony Lippett. Don't get me wrong, I think Xavier Howard's our best corner. Rashad Jones is back. But I can see Rivers dinking and dunking with Keenan Allen all the way down the field.
I mean, he got, I think, 10, 11 targets last week against the Broncos. He only pulled in 5 catches.
But still, that's a tough defense, a lot tougher than Miami.
His targets are there. That's what's important, is getting those targets.
Mm-hmm.
targets are there, the catches will come. I mean,
Absolutely, and he got the touchdown, which I like even more.
yeah.
So I'm really high on Keenan Allen. I got him in whatever league. I believe I got him in 2 leagues, I think, that I was able to kind of get him a little bit later than where he was going. But I think he's a good daily play as well. I think he's cheap enough. If you're gonna do a stack, I don't think you can do any better than the Rivers Keenan Allen stack. You're not paying top dollar for either of them. I think that's a pretty good play here going forward. And that's going to take me into actually my next pick, which I actually like a little bit more than our consensus rankings as well. And he's kind of down there, and that's Terrell Pryor. Terrell Pryor led Washington in targets, most receptions, most yards. He led the offense. Jordan Reed has that foot issue. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with that? I think Terrell Pryor is going to get in the end zone, and I think he's going to be targeted. They're going up against the Rams. I think Aaron Donald's coming back. The Rams' defense looks tough, but man, if Pryor catches that pass in the end zone, his fantasy value just went. I think right now Terrell Pryor is the number 1 buy low guy. I don't think he's going to be as cheap as he is now in trades. I would say he is my most targeted guy in trades right now to go and get in. That's Terrell Pryor. I know I've been shot down by 3 people this week.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think he could wind up having another bad week facing the Rams. And like he did get the targets. And I think maybe there's a little overreaction in our rankings with him dropping down there. Maybe it was a product.
I don't think he dropped too far.
Maybe it was a product of the Eagles and just the Redskins having a bad game altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, Kirk Cousins with 2 brand new wide receivers coming in. I mean, all that stuff could come into play week 1. And again, they're playing against the Rams in week 2. Tough defense. I could definitely see him having a big game, but I also would not be surprised if he did have a stinker, and you could buy even cheaper. But I definitely think he's definitely a good trade target.
Yeah, no, I like him, and I really like him this week too. Just here going forward, just based on pure volume, I think he emerged as the number 1 target in Washington going out forward. Jordan Reed, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, and I mean going forward now, my next guy I want to talk about here is DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, hey. Couple spots higher than Pryor.
Yeah, and he's he's been a disappointment last year, and
well, was it Hopkins or is it just a quarterback situation?
Well, I think the quarterback situation has a lot to do with it, and then even they brought Watson in the second half, and I believe he had 16 targets from Watson.
I like that.
I mean, just killing them with targets.
And you think Watson's a better... Watson playing this week, Thursday night, you think that helps Hopkins' value?
I'm not a huge Thursday night fan of playing fantasy players, but along with Watson, who seems to favor throwing him the ball, I mean, there's Will Fuller, who's ruled out again this week. Then you have Fedorowicz, who's on IR for a concussion. Then Steven Anderson and Ryan Griffin, who are the second and third string tight ends, who are also out this week for concussions. I mean, I literally think they might not have a starting tight end this week. I'm not sure.
We'll play. Cheap.
I mean,
couple $100,000.
I'll take the veteran minimum.
Yeah. I'll even take a little bit less than that.
Yeah. There's going to be no one else to throw the ball to. And I even tried looking up who the tight end would be to see, hey, that might be a decent sleeper this week to put that tight end in there. And I can't find it anywhere.
J.J. Watt?
Like, it might be.
You heard it here first at J&J Fantasy Flyers. J.J. Watt.
Like, I don't know if they have a tight end to play. And it's a huge position for them. And he's just going to be peppered with targets.
I don't see how you could pull Hopkins out of your lineup, no matter what situation.
I think he's solid.
No, definitely. And I think Hopkins could finish the year as the top 10. I like him a lot more now that we know that it's Watson's job to lose. Rookie quarterbacks, I think he's going to fall in love with them. And I like that. I like Hopkins a little bit more than Terrell Pryor, I think. So, I mean, I would, if I had the choice between the two of them, that's a good league to be in. But I don't think...
It's a good choice.
that you go wrong with Hopkins. But, Jason, I'll tell you what... let's say somebody a little bit lower on the list if you're looking for deep consideration in your flex spot, or hey, maybe you want running back hard. T.Y. Hilton, with the unknowns in Indy, who do you like maybe a little bit deeper?
Well, I'm gonna surprise you here because I'm going right off our rankings, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm not positive this is gonna be a good play for this week. And this is my guy I brought up before the season, Tanner Gentry, from the Chicago Bears. Now
Who?
Tanner Gentry.
Who?
Exactly. He had a couple big plays in the preseason with the first team against first team defenses. So the hype, yeah. Tanner Gentry.
Is he on the rankings here?
No, he's not on our rankings. He's not on anybody's rankings.
That's deep. So 16 team leagues?
I think I picked him up in a couple 12s.
What do you-
I think you need to pick him up in 12-team leagues. If you have the roster space, then you should definitely look. You should beat the waiver wire. Because when Kevin White went out to IR,
Oh, that's a good point.
he was activated off the practice squad. And there was talk whether or not he was going to make the 53-man roster going into week 1. He didn't make the 53, but he got put to the practice squad. Now he's reactivated to the 53 after White went out. I think this is an opportunity for him to prove his chance, and this is what I was waiting for, was an injury or the opportunity for him to come in and show himself.
So you think Tanner Gentry is more of somebody that you should add, not necessarily play this week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Don't play him this week. I would not be surprised if he did okay this week, though.
Who?
I would not be surprised if he gave you decent numbers this week. But no, I'm not starting him because you don't know what he's going to do.
Absolutely. That's a tough start. I mean, in deep leagues, I could see that. To be honest with you, when Jay first mentioned Tanner Gentry to me in Dynasty, I was like, who? But more, I watched what you watched.
It's gone from
I've seen it.
preseason to practice squad to now 53 to
They move
getting
it
his opportunity. It's been progressive.
I'm going to give you a little guy that you can play this week, and I think you could feel pretty safe on playing.
Little guy,
He's kind of little.
is he?
It's from the team that you love. The Jets. Jets.
Love it. I love playing against the Jets.
So does everybody else. But that's Jermaine Kearse. Jermaine Kearse here. I liked what I seen week 1, and I was kind of hemming and hawing between Kearse and Robbie Anderson before the year. Somebody has to catch the ball. I think Oakland blows the Jets out, and it's just going to be garbage time. And I can see Kearse getting 10 catches.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the case, if you have to play Kearse and he gets 10 catches, you're stoked. I mean, you're about ready to pass out from a heart attack because Kearse over there, I mean, with 10 targets, if he gives you 50, 60 yards, I mean, 15 points in PPR, I mean, it's there. The targets are there.
Yeah, from Kearse and probably your flex.
Yeah, I mean, that's all that I have to say. Is there's not one player on the Jets, wide receiver staff at least. I mean, to be honest with you, my favorite Jets wide receiver is Sharon Peak, but we'll see him later in the season.
Maybe.
Who? But no, I think what is it, Jermaine Kearse? Is it Jermaine?
Yeah, it's
Jermaine Kearse? I think he's going to be good enough to warrant a flex spot in, and I can see him slowly creep up the rankings as well. But like I said, that's deep. I mean, obviously, I would go with anybody on our rankings, our top 40 over Kearse. But there's teams out there like our buddy Dominic who could really use Kearse.
You gotta get those flyers, man. Those waiver wire ads, getting them early is so important. But you gotta pick the guy to cut too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And who do you cut to add these?
Brandon Coleman, that's who you cut.
Hmm.
Told you to pick him up last week. He dropped a pass in the end zone. What can I say? That's all I was hoping for.
Yeah.
And the only reason I had Coleman was because of Beckham. Let's be honest. I mean, it is what it is. Ted Ginn looked pretty good too.
He did. He just,
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely. Going up against New England, though, I don't like the matchup for Ginn. We're chugging right along here. Do want to tell you guys, our website is up, jnjfantasyflyers.com. Visit us. You can see our rankings right here. And there's also a contact us section to where you can fill in. It's super easy. You just type in what we tell you to type in. Write us your question. We're going to take some of our favorite questions, put them on the air. Look for us on game days, on Sundays. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Tweet us a question. Facebook us a question. I mean, I had a question earlier today. I don't even think I consulted you on. Guy asked me if he should trade Melvin Gordon for Julio Jones.
You didn't consult me on this?
I totally forgot. I told him not to do it. His only other running back on his team was Jordan Howard in a 2 running back league. He loves Julio Jones. And I think and we both kind of like Melvin Gordon. I mean, you gotta depth.
You need, especially in a 2 running back league, you can't trade away your number 1 running back for a wide receiver.
Don't get me wrong. If you're stacked at running back,
yes,
then make that deal 110% of the time. However, with only having Jordan Howard left, I would keep Melvin Gordon.
But getting back to the website, it's up. Go up there, fill out, write a little note, sweet nothings, whatever you want to write in there. Let us know you're listening.
And send us your matchups. We'll rate matchups. We've had a couple over the past couple days. A buddy of both of ours, actually, Scott Newton, he's 5-0. He won all 5 of his matchups this week, and I know I seen him out. And he had asked me a couple questions, so I'd like to say J&J had a little bit of input on his lineup. But hey, he's 5-0.
Shoot us some start-sit questions. You got your flex spots, or even daily, questions.
You know who Scott beat in our regular league, right? Me.
Really?
Yeah, I heard with Leonard Fournette. But hey, Scotty, we love you, buddy. Keep it going, man. We'd like to see the 5-0. That's what we're here for. Tight ends.
Tight end.
The bread and butter. The guys that probably 5 score good and the rest don't can kill your team.
Yeah, except this week the top 5 didn't score good and everyone else did.
Yeah. Basically.
So, that said, my guy here I'm talking about is Zach Ertz.
That's a sneaky good play. Top 3.
He had a very good week 1. He had a very good end of the season last year. I mean, Wentz, he likes to go to him. He looks for him. He finds him. He throws him the ball.
What's the number 1 thing we like in pass catchers?
Catching the ball.
Targets.
Well, you want him to catch the ball first.
Well, still, if the targets are there, the catches will come.
He's got the targets, and again, he's playing the Chiefs, who we said earlier that they shut down Gronk. That was Eric Berry. Eric Berry is now out for the season. I think this opens up an opportunity for Ertz because the other cornerbacks and safety are going to be held up with their other weapons, Alshon Jeffrey, and the now maybe breakout Nelson Aguilar, maybe not. The other receivers. I think this Zach Ertz has an opportunity to put up, at top 5 tight end numbers again.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that.
I think he's the safest tight end here. Rob Gronkowski, he's number 1. He's going against the Saints. He's in your lineup.
Yeah,
but I think Ertz's volume and the amount of targets, I think he's as safe as they come. If you're not named Gronk, so I could jump on board with that. I'm gonna go with another guy who's
come on board.
Targets.
Plenty of space.
Are you gonna trade me, Ertz?
No.
All right then. So I gotta stay away because you have him in every league. Guy I have in a lot of leagues, that's Jordan Reed. I know I said, with Terrell Pryor, and that I think Kirk Cousins is going to go to old reliable, and it's Jordan Reed. I thought he looked pretty good with his foot injury. I'm not really sure exactly what's going on with that.
What's up? How did he just all of a sudden before the game say he's got a broken toe?
Yeah, I don't know. He looked pretty good to me. He was second on the team in targets. I think, the Eagles' defense kind of flustered them, and Kirk Cousins just didn't look all that great. But I think Jordan Reed, is a good candidate for a couple touchdowns. And I think we both agree, if you can get a touchdown out of your tight end, he's gonna have you're better than
what you hope for.
Yeah, that's all you really want. If you look at the tight ends and their stats that they put up week to week, it's you
tight end scores are on top.
Yeah, you could have a tight end that has
touchdown scores. Tight end scores.
Well, the highest scoring tight ends usually have touchdowns. Yeah. Like Austin Hooper. One play. He caught one pass, 80 yards, and a touchdown. He's number 1 tight end. It is what it is. There was some down weeks, though, across the NFL, so I wouldn't jump too high on the train, but I think Jordan Reed is the number 3 best tight end in football right now. Maybe not this week with the matchups, but I think Jordan Reed is a safe play, and he's ranked with us at 7. Actually 6, I'm sorry. And I think that's right where he should be, right behind Jimmy Graham. And I think he has upside to finish in the top 3 this week. It's pretty much of a no-brainer, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
The rest of my tight ends are kind of gut picks that I have going, a little bit deeper. I think you have one that's a little bit more reliable here. Who are you going with?
Yeah, it's my man Coby Fleener, who I went with last week. And it's the same thing. If Willie Snead ain't playing, plug him in. And that's last year, the one game Willie Snead missed, Coby Fleener had his biggest game of the year. He had a big game last week. He got the targets. He got that touchdown. He's a solid player. He's going to see the same thing against the Patriots. They're going to need to throw the ball, and he's going to see the targets. He's going to get catches. He might even get a touchdown. He's going to be a solid play.
Top 10?
Yeah.
Do you think he finishes in the top 10? I know we're ranked a little bit outside.
Yeah, I think he can finish in the top 10. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I put him in.
Yeah. Another one I would say, just to kind of touch on, is
Coach.
Charles Clay. I liked what Tyrod did with Charles Clay. I think he's a sneaky play to kind of watch going forward.
The ball, man.
Yeah, I don't like him this week, just with Kuechly and that line, the speed of the linebackers. But I think sneaky play later on in the season, if you're a little hurting on tight end and you want to grab a backup, go get Charles Clay. I would say I think he's going to be the
stash him.
Yep, I think so.
Or people might pick him up after his first big week, and then he's gonna drop a goose egg or something nasty on him, and they're gonna drop him.
Yep, just
kind of pick him back up after that and let him sit there and wait for the matchups. Play the matchups with him.
Yep, pump the brakes on Clay. But I'm gonna go with the guy I think who has the best chance of a touchdown this weekend.
No.
Best chance, number one, over Gronk. Best chance at touchdown.
No.
It's gonna happen. It's Antonio Gates.
Oh.
For the record, he needs one going up against the Dolphins. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope the Chargers have zero offensive yards.
I'll give him one touchdown.
I think he's guaranteed for a touchdown. I think Antonio, he's gonna get it. They want to get that. I just think that they want to get it done and over with. Rivers loves Gates. He's gonna try and get him the touchdown. I don't think they're gonna have the pressure that they did in Denver, going forward here. And I could see him getting the touchdown and getting the record. That's a pure gut call. I don't have any stats or anything to back me up on this. It's going to happen at some point. And I think it's going to happen against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
My luck.
Fair enough.
But let's say we're going deeper. Maybe not so much, maybe guys you can start if you're kind of in a pinch. Or somebody to kind of monitor going forward. Who do you got?
I'm actually still on one of your guys here from the
Don't
preseason.
do it.
Yeah, I'm going George Kittle.
George Kittle.
And he got 6 targets in week 1.
Yep.
I mean, he only ended up with 27 yards with 5 catches. But again, targets.
Uh-huh.
He had the 6 targets. It's coming in as a rookie this year. I mean, they traded away Vance McDonald. They trusted him enough to give him that starting role, and I think he's got the opportunity to capitalize on it. He's not gonna. He might not blow it up for you, but he's gonna be a safe pick. And I think he can just do the same thing. He can get the targets, and if you can turn those targets into a little more yardage, he's gonna be a safe play on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, and do you like him this week in Seattle, or kind of pump the brakes?
I do, and I want to say pump the brakes because it's Seattle, but again, they're going to need to be throwing the ball. He's going to have pressure in his face, Hoyer that is. So he's going to be looking for his dump off, man. He's going to be looking for the quick passes. And who knows, maybe he catches one up the seam. He breaks one up the seam, catching him off guard or something for one big play.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like Kittle. I know in our Dynasty special I was on him going forward here as well. My guy's a little bit different. To be honest with you, he won me a Super Bowl. I'm not sure if you remember my first Dynasty football championship. Monday Night Football. I was down by a little bit.
I do remember this.
He caught the touchdown. I cried like a baby. Remember I called you at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night?
Yeah, you were...
Wife was not happy. But I was in tears. Real tears. And that is, remember who it was?
Was it Dwayne Allen?
It was not Dwayne Allen.
Wasn't it?
No.
Who was wasn't it the Saints tight end?
Ben Watson.
Ben Watson.
He was out last year. He missed a whole season. To be honest with you, Ben Watson was going to stay on my team just out of principle. There's not one fantasy analyst that loves Ben Watson more than I do just because he won me a Super Bowl. I was down to... I didn't think I was going to make it. And Ben Watson, just the Holy Trinity himself. I mean, caught a touchdown, put me over the top.
Holy Trinity.
Won my league. I love Ben Watson. And with Dennis Pitta going down, somebody's got to take them. The targets that he gave up. I think Baltimore's going to be more pass than most people think. And I think Ben Watson's going to get a lot of gravy. I don't think he's high upside. I don't think he finishes within the top 15. But I think he's going to have some weeks that he can play. And if you can't play him against Cleveland, when can you play him? So I think that's just kind of a shot if you want to save some money on daily. Or if you're just, I don't know, something happened with your tight end or you just waited to take one. You can throw a dart and pick up Ben Watson.
It's deep.
I like Kittle a little bit better than Watson, I think. Not when I was doing these
You're stealing
rankings.
my guys, bro.
Okay. But no, I like Ben Watson here going forward. And it's just a guy to kind of monitor too. I like him better than Jesse James. I think Jesse James just had the fluke 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I don't think it's long until Vance McDonald takes
Yeah,
it.
and once he gets acclimated to that offense, I think it's Vance McDonald's job.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, now here it gets to everybody's favorite part of the week, or favorite part of our show, and that's who you're going to stream for your defense this week, Jay.
DSTs, and I'm going.
Well, hold on. Before you say it, you got a lot of pressure on your plate because you picked the number 1 defense last week.
Hey.
Are you going to do it 2 weeks in a row? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Absolutely?
Yeah.
No questions asked?
No.
Who you got?
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
I thought you were going to say the Jets.
No. Jacksonville Jaguars. They played, Houston isn't the best offense last week, but their defense looked solid. I mean, they added a couple positions, defense. The rookie, what's the linebacker, got hurt last year, came back this year now.
Miles Jack.
Yeah, Miles Jack.
Fowler's back. Can I interject, though?
His foul was what I meant.
Not that he's
Go ahead. What?
They're playing the best quarterback in football.
No.
Yes.
No.
Marcus Mariota.
No.
I didn't talk about him this week, but now I did. I had to get that in.
Anyways, they're playing the Titans, like you're saying, and Mariota is a mobile quarterback, which usually leads to more sacks for the defense. Just because he tries running, tries making plays when there's not necessarily something there, which can lead to more mistakes or sacks. I mean, they're not going to shut down Tennessee, but I believe there's enough room there that they might surprise you with how much they can score. It's a solid play. Pick them up the waivers, put them in on your defense, play them, walk away happy knowing you got the number 1 defense this week.
Absolutely. And I'm going to differ.
It. We are now done with the show.
Nope. I'm going to go with the defense that we actually got ranked here 4th. And I know we both agree that this isn't just a defense for this week going up against the Cleveland Browns, but I think it's a defense that you can ride all the way to your fantasy championship.
Absolutely.
And that is, would you like to say it?
The Ravens.
Baltimore Ravens. And they look like the Ravens of old. The ageless Terrell Suggs. They look tough. I don't think Cincinnati's that bad.
No.
The Ravens defense, I think,
They're
is
tough.
going to be a monster. I think they are going to be the consensus number 1 defense. I think they put the Ravens in the AFC Championship game. I'm all aboard the Ravens defense, and I think if they're there, you grab them now because they're going to be a hot commodity. I don't know if it's not for points allowed, if you don't lose points for points allowed or anything like that. I don't know how many touchdowns or score, interceptions, stuff like that. But just pure defenses that nobody wants to play.
They're not going to be huge turnover causing defense, but they're going to make their stops. They're going to get the 3 and outs. They're going to make their goal line stands.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a good, solid defense.
I think, to be perfectly honest with you, I think if you have anybody in your lineup playing against the Baltimore Ravens, you should consider other options. I mean, even when Pittsburgh comes into town, I would almost jump on the table and say, this might be the week you sit Le'Veon Bell, or this might be the week that you sit Antonio Brown. I mean, I'm that high on the Ravens defense, so grab him going forward. He's the defensive master though, so you're probably best grabbing the Jaguars because, hey, the Rams, gotta love them. But definitely. I mean, another guy, and I want to touch on it here just real quick because it kind of popped in my head, and I pulled this off in Dynasty, and I was a week ahead of you. Tight end, grab for the future. Austin Safarian Jenkins.
Yeah, you beat me to him.
Yeah, a week early. I jumped on one a week early.
I don't know for sure. I guess I could try to look it up real quick, but he either comes back week 3 or his suspension is over after week 3 and he comes back week 4. I can't remember which one. Find out, or we'll let you know. He is worth an ad. All reports are he got his head right. He was drinking too much. He got off the booze. He lost weight, added muscle. They said the guy is the ASJ. He was supposed to be in Tampa. I love the guy. I had him on my dynasty team for 3 years waiting for that breakout. I never came.
And now I'm going to read
disappointed. I mean, it's still the Jets. But you know, like
somebody's got to catch the ball.
exactly. Yet again, someone's got to catch the ball.
So either the other way or any way you want to look at it, you know, I figured I had to grab them now because I knew you were going to be eyeing them up.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm Joey.
And I'm Jason.
And we are J&J Fantasy Flyers. Check us out on Facebook, J&J Fantasy Flyers, or our website, jnjfantasyflyers.com, and on Twitter,
@FantasyFlyers.
It's been a pleasure. We wish you the best of luck on your Week 2 matchups, and send us your questions. We definitely want to know them.